All right, well, I haven't done one of these in a while. It's a haul video. So this is from my local Bricks and Minifigs. They're a third-party reseller of Lego, and I'm very happy to have them around. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But I was talking to the owner last week, and it's not in a back room. It's like it's got like glass doors and glass windows all around it, like an event room or something. But we walked through there, and he was like, "I got some Rock Raiders." So I was like, "Okay." So, if I'm not mistaken, God, and I will get dragged if I get this wrong. This is the Chrome Crusher. You can see the big drill piece there, which is I did not realize how big these were. That's pretty cool, and that's what kind of stood out to me. They also had the tunnel transport. They were asking 110 for that. It was one that I was less interested in. Out of the two, I did pick this one. They were asking 70 for it. I did look that up on Bricklink, and that seems to be kind of the lower end of the pricing on Bricklink. And even then, you got to factor in shipping. Some of those were international sellers, so it's going to be quite a lot to get that shipped over here. It just wouldn't have been worth it to me. And one other thing that came into play here is when they first opened, I was excited about it. So I became a founding member and was there before they were even open to the public. But that also means I get a discount on used sets and the bulk too as well. So that was cool. So I got a few bucks off for that. I had also stacked up some rewards for every, I think it's $100 you spend, you get like a $6 credit. So yeah, I had 3 of those saved up apparently. So another $18 right off the top. So all of these things together made it a really good deal for me. I feel like the third-party resellers, the Bricks and Minifigs, the Atlanta Brick Co., I think there's one in Orlando. I feel like some of the negativity is, I won't say unjustified. Like, people have had bad experiences. I get that. Or just look at the prices and be like, this is out to lunch. But you can't judge all of these stores by your store. You just can't. From my understanding, like Bricks and Minifigs, there's not like a corporate pricing structure or something. I mean, I think it's kind of up to the owners how they want to run the business, how they want to price things. So that's something to keep in mind, is that I think these prices are fair to buy. I have not sold anything to them, and I might feel like that's a little bit less. But the other thing that comes into play there is people might go in there and sell bulk sets or just bulk bricks. And being able to sell it all at once and get cash or store credit and buy something you're looking at, that's a whole different world than making sure every single set is complete and then, taking pictures and listing it online and having to go to the post office multiple times, because you're not going to sell it all at once. If you're trying to get top dollar, you're going to sell it individually, because that's how people set the price. They'll say, like, I've got all this stuff, it's worth $200. It's like, well, it would be if you sold them all separately, but once you sell things in a big lot, that price goes down, because it's a lot of work to sell stuff online. I've done it for many years, and there's stuff I need to list, and I just haven't got around to it because I'm too lazy. So yeah, that's kind of my opinion. I have a very high opinion of my local store. I've never been to another store, so I can't really compare them. But I'm really glad they're there, and I always enjoy just going in and talking about Lego. Many times I go in there and don't buy anything, but just talk about that kind of stuff. So that's something, it was very important to me, and I'm glad they're there. Today I actually talked to the manager this time for a good while. I brought an RCX set from the back because he had questions about it. I was like, well, I have answers. He's like, I knew you'd be the person to ask about this. So I showed him, the wires were disintegrating, showed him that. The RCX had very, very bad battery corrosion damage. The motors, none of them were locked up, but they were kind of iffy. Just loud gears. You can tell the gears are starting to go out. So, it was fun for me to just talk about that stuff. And I wanted to make sure they weren't going to throw the wires away. I was like, don't throw them away. I can show you how to repair them, or you can give them to me, but just don't throw them away. That's all I ask. The RCX, I told him, probably was trash. You can get those for $10 on Bricklink in working condition. So, the other thing I got is, oh yes, so yeah, it did have the instructions. I thought they might have forgot because a different employee actually rang this up for me, but they were in the bag, so I do have the instructions. I also got this dark turquoise brick. If you're a fan of Rock Raiders. You're probably a fan of dark turquoise, little accent pieces in there. So I thought this would be a good display piece. It was $15. I didn't get a discount on this, I guess because it's not used. I don't know how that works really, but I was fine with that. But I knew it cost that much to try to like part this together because I'm sure I don't have all the pieces I would need. So that's gonna be fun to put together as well. So yeah, I'm gonna get this Chrome Crusher built, and I'll report back then, see exactly which pieces are missing because he did say there's a couple very common pieces missing. It has all the important stuff, so I'll get it built and report back. All right, well, we got it built. There was only one piece missing, and it was these kind of minifigure tool accessory, the saw. So I have plenty of those in dark bluish gray, but couldn't find one in dark gray. But I don't really care about having it absolutely 100% complete. So yeah, no problems with the completeness of the set. One thing I will notice, or one thing I did notice, is the laser up here. So this one works. This is out of my collection. And this was kind of my fault. This is the one that came with it. He went to open it to check it, and I was like, those things are such a pain to get apart. I'm not even too worried about it because I guess I knew I had an extra at the house. But what I found is if you just kind of go in like that and just, you can get them apart pretty easily instead of prying. That won't get you anywhere, looks like. Yeah, it definitely has some battery corrosion. Not even, I mean, I've seen worse. Definitely seen worse. So I'll probably end up, putting some white distilled vinegar to use and cleaning that up a little bit. That's kind of to be expected. With any, toys, any kind of vintage toys, definitely check battery compartments first if that would be something you'd be upset about. I knew I was fine either way, and I wasn't going to try to make a big deal out of it or try to get another couple dollars off or something. But if it's important to you, that's something to look into and check. So, like purchases I've made in the past, this is 100% our Sluggers' fault, and probably increased the price a little bit from what it would have been a few years ago. I look back at the pricing a little bit more. Just this drill piece, $10, at the base level. This set, the cheapest one was like $71 in the US, and that one was missing 10 pieces, and they didn't even say which pieces are missing. It really goes up to like 80 and above from there, what this would have been priced. So I actually did get it cheaper than a Bricklink price. And, everything's complete. The chrome pieces look great. You've got the grill tiles inside of here on the motor or engine. The drill looks great. I couldn't ask for it to be in better condition. There was some pieces that were a little bit dusty, and I just kind of went over with a toothbrush, just lightly. I didn't have to do any deep cleaning or anything like that. These stickers, they're not in the instructions. I don't know if these are pre-applied. I mean, they look like stickers, but they're placed very well. So I don't know if these parts just came like that or not. The 90s were a long time ago. Is this 90s? I don't even know. This might be the early 2000s. But yeah, we've got the boulder in the back here. Of course, we have the green energy crystal inside. We've got our explosives, because you're going to need those. And then we've got our minifigure. And yeah, drag me in the comments. I'm not exactly sure who this is. Is this Axel? Is this? I don't know. But yeah, and he's got his little binoculars and everything ready to go. So I'm very happy with that purchase. Just to finish things up here, yeah, a little light turquoise brick. I'm kind of wondering why they didn't just use 2x2 round tiles here. I don't know if that's not in dark turquoise or if it just they didn't like the look of it, because I feel like this is a little strange that they're shaped like that. You know, it's got the lines through them. But I still think it's pretty cool. I mean, it was kind of an impulse buy. This was a VIP set. If I'm not mistaken, this would be something you would add on to your Lego.com order, spending some of your VIP points. I think that's how it works. But I thought it was kind of cool. They had a few of these. Some were more expensive than others. I guess it kind of depends on the demand of these sets. So that was my experience. Did I get ripped off? Heck no. I think I got a great deal. All things said, you know, I'm extremely happy. And, you know, like I said, I certainly realize people have had bad experiences. I've even talked to some employees there at my store that have talked about other stores' pricing being very high on the selling, selling end of things. And I think that is going to be, those things are probably going to correlate a little bit, that if they're selling sets at a good deal, they're probably not buying them for very much. You could even kind of game the system. If you live in a city that has competing stores, you could sell to one and buy from another, and you'll work out pretty good. For me, I think it's the closest third-party store would be Orlando, and it'd be like a 3-4 hour drive for me. And that's a pretty new store. Before that, it was hundreds of miles from me in North Florida to find a Lego third-party reseller store. I'm thrilled that they exist. You can just walk in, just look at stuff. You might meet some people and talk. It's just really awesome. And, you know, I work for a pretty small business. I like small businesses. I'm a fan, you know, so I understand they got to pay employees. I hope they're paid fairly well. They've got to pay their utilities and rent and everything else. So I don't expect them to, you know, always undercut everybody on Bricklink or something who has much less overhead, you know. So I don't know, maybe I went a little overboard, kind of like defending them. I'm not really trying to like white knight for them or anything, especially all of them as a group. I'm just saying I really like my store. So when I see so much negativity online saying these stores are always a scam or always, I don't like the word always. Let's just put it that way. This is something our Slugger talks about a lot. You know, for him, it's like opinions. Like, opinions aren't objective. You can have an opinion and I can have a different one, and that's perfectly fine. And you know, my experience at these stores, or really just my stores, my experience is mine, and you can have yours. So I just I like to avoid that kind of thing. I'm sure I'll get some comments below that are just, these stores are always a ripoff. I always get, you know, blah, blah, blah. And there's also something to remember. Being ripped off and having buyer's remorse are two different things. So if you bought this old set that you thought was going to be so great in your head and you get it and it's not as great as you think, and you're like, I paid this much for it, that's just buyer's remorse. And you know, these sets have increased quite a lot in value over the years. You know, same thing for Aquazon. I used to buy a lot of Aquazon stuff back in the day, and I'm glad I did, because the prices have definitely shot through the roof on those. So it's just all part of the hobby. So find what works for you, and you don't have to go on tirades against other people if they're just enjoying themselves on the internet. So yeah, I didn't really set out to make a rant video, but maybe I did. I appreciate you all for watching. Huge thanks to the channel members for helping keep the lights on here. You know, I've got a light bill too, and rent, so it's much appreciated. Join us in Discord if you want to talk about all these sets. There's a lot of great Discords out there. The Research Realm is a really good one. I can link that one below. You know, there's a lot of talk about like Lego prototype pieces and games and all that. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if he's just a huge part of it or the one who started it, Baraklava. He's the guy who made the Rock Raiders game remake and now works at Lego. Well, yeah, I'll link his channel below too. Really cool stuff, really cool story. So that's it. Thanks for watching.